What if you could stay calm even when you're overwhelmed, exhausted, and under a lot of pressure? Like Monday morning, everybody's running late and kids are too slow to put on their shoes. Or evening bedtime routines. You're so exhausted, you just want to be by yourself, finally have a break, and they would not go down to bed. They keep asking for one more sip of water, one more story, and you're like, ah! Because most of the moms I meet, they have already done so many parenting techniques and books and courses that they can stay calm when the situation is less stressed and there is less time pressure. Yeah. So on a weekend when there is nowhere to rush, they can have the patience to help the kids put on their shoes and teach them how to tie it up or how to zip up the jacket. Kids are saying, no, and they're getting stressed out, and moms can back off and let them do by themselves. Yeah. But whenever there is this additional pressure from the outside, it's like everything is too much and you snap. It's like a younger part of you comes in, takes over, and you're like, I don't have time for this. And yelling becomes the only way how to get things moving fast and how to get back in control. Yeah. And so then what it feels like for these moms usually is that you feel like you're the victim of your life. Because yes, for your kids, you can read some parenting techniques and okay, that can make a little bit of difference and kids listen more. But what do you do about your life? Because you still need to get to your job in time. You still need to take care of your kids when they are sick, or it's just you because you're a single mom, you're an expatriate mom. There is no grandparents on a hotline standby whenever you have a problem. Like there is no babysitting. It's you. And your life is going to stay this way for the next foreseeable future, like the next 15, 20 years until kids leave home. Then you will have more calm time for yourself. But what do you do until then? What if there was a way for you to stay calm and steady, not join the drama, not become so afraid of that fear of judgment and that time pressure, the clock ticking, that you turn into this yelling monster that you hate yourself turning into? What if there was a way without doing like more parenting or more therapy or reading more books and memorizing more scripts? What if it was possible? Well, if you feel like this would save your life, then this episode of the Zen Supermom Podcast is for you. Let's go. Hi Supermom, my name is Elena and I call myself a mommy tantrum specialist because I used to be specialist at yelling at my daughter. And it was usually happening exactly as I had described in the intro. At first it was happening because I felt like I could not control my daughter. So then all my attention went into learning parenting courses and techniques and seeing like basically how to manipulate my daughter and play chess with anticipating what her next move will be so that I could get ahead of it and I could manipulate her into obedience and I could make her do what I want. And then I realized when I got better at manipulating, not okay by the way, then I realized my next problem is I cannot do the same with my life. No matter how hard I tried to control all the situations, and I was like being the best project manager for my life. So I was having not just to-do lists in my head all the time, but also the time plan, the time schedule. So our day was broken into even like 10, 20 minute intervals because from these parenting techniques, I knew that kids need routines. And when they have, like when their needs, physiological, biological needs are met, then they are more likely to cooperate. So then I was running our home basically as on a train schedule. No, trains are usually late. Okay, maybe airport schedule, whatever. Hospital surgery schedule, whatever. I was trying to control and white knuckle and anticipate. I had not only plan A and plan B, I was trying to anticipate 20 steps ahead. What might go wrong? So what is it that I can do now so that I can prevent getting into stressful situation, like getting into time pressure or my daughter having a meltdown. Yeah. So then you can imagine, like, that sounds exhausting even as I'm describing it now again, right? Like, that alone was extremely stressful and heavy. Like, how can you anticipate dealing with a little toddler, right? They don't care about schedules, or their needs are sometimes completely all over the place, right? They get sick out of the blue. Or sometimes they nap, sometimes they don't. So it was extremely destabilizing for me. And I was trying to see, like, if only I could, that was the question, like, or like the target in my mind. I was thinking, well, if only I could anticipate, plan, and control better, then I could avoid getting into these like stressful time pressure situations. I could give my daughter more time so that I don't stress her out, and then everybody would be calmer, right? But yeah, what was the price I was paying? I was constantly stressed. I was constantly on the edge. I even caught myself, like, we were driving somewhere with my husband, and out of the blue, he was asking me, like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I am. Why are you asking? Like, we were all sitting quietly. There was like no drama going on. And I was like, why are you? Yeah, of course I'm okay. But then I noticed I'm holding my breath, and I'm like, there was constant tension in my body. And I was like, I never allowed myself to relax. I was never in the moment because I was always in my head planning 20 steps ahead. And that's actually what made me even more on the edge. And that's what actually then started to make me be nervous and snapping, if not yelling, even on those weekends when there was nowhere to rush. Yeah? So like Saturday afternoon, my husband would be at work. I would be alone with my daughter. We would be going to a park. She was like, whatever, a 2-year-old. And she was trying to put on the jacket and she was trying to do all the things by herself. I snapped at her, even then. Saturday afternoon, there was no deadline. There was no rush anywhere. And I would still snap because I was frustrated. In my mind, there was a schedule. There was like, we need to go to the park. We stay there this time. At max, because then we need to go shopping for groceries on the way, and I cannot go with you to the store when you're already tired, because then it's going to be super difficult. So we have to do it when you're still okay. And then I need to go home and start cooking, preparing dinner. So I still need to do that when you're still okay, because then when you're like exhausted and hungry, then it's going to be like a blowout and everybody will be yelling and crying. So even on Saturday afternoon, I was constantly trying to manage the timetable, constantly checking on how my daughter is doing, on her signals, if she's already melting or if she's still okay, so that I can anticipate. Exhausting. Yeah. And that's just my example. Like, what is it that you feel where your life is pressuring you so much and is preventing you from being a calm mom? Yeah. What is the biggest obstacle that kind of like you feel like I'm not being a victim, but it's not my fault. Yeah. Even if you understand it's not my kids, like, yeah, I get it. They have 2-year-olds, or what, I'm using example of a 2-year-old, but use the example of whatever age your kids are. But you understand, like, yeah, they are doing it because they need this and they want this. Okay, they are kids, right? But I am stressed. It's because of my life. It's because of I need to do it all by myself. And I never have enough time to rest. I can't take the time off. Yeah. So do you feel like if that's the situation, whatever your specific details of that are, then how about, what if there was a way how you could get in control of your emotions rather than your life? And I'm not talking here about you shutting down when you feel like yelling just for the sake of not traumatizing your kids, but you still feel that anger. You just don't yell it out. That's not what I'm talking about, because that's what will get you sick, right? Psychoneuroimmunology is already a trend I lost the word. I'm not going to throw heavy words at you anyways. Transdisciplinary, that's the word I was looking for. That's like a cross-field study that they already found out, like all the smart scientists who are experts on that field, they have already proven the link between stress that you eat inside, you don't express it outside, you just make it stuck in your body, and chronic diseases, including then cancer and like autoimmune diseases. Yeah. So all of that stuck anger, frustration, resentment, feeling like I'm prisoner of my own life. If you, on one hand, it's not okay to yell it out at your kids. But if you don't yell it out and you just like swallow it, you yell it at you inside of you, it's still not okay. It's going to make you sick. So that's not a solution either. Okay. So if you're doing any therapy that helps you not yell at your kids, but you still yell at yourself in your head, you judge yourself, there's the inner critic, there's the perfectionist, the controller that I just described here so extensively, then that's not a solution either, right? So this is one of the first steps then. The first step is to work with that emotion. Like, where is that anger even coming from? How come you start turning into a younger version of you whenever your life gets out of control? And you feel like things are falling apart, or people are crossing your boundaries and you can do nothing about it other than yell at them. Yeah. Where is that younger part of you coming from? Where did she learn that yelling or controlling is the best way how to get grip and how to feel less afraid? Yeah. Because this is what I explain in my Mommy Tantra Masterclass. Yeah. And this is where I usually begin that masterclass. I ask them, like, why do you think you cannot stop yelling at your kids even when you know better? Even if you did the parenting techniques and you know that yelling is hard, you wake up every day wishing and like committing to yourself and to your kids that today is the day when I'm not going to lose it. I'm not going to explode at my kids. I will be the calm, steady mom who can handle any pressure and any challenges with my head straight without turning into a little yelling kid. Yeah. You wake up this way every morning, but how come sooner or later it goes off? Yeah. And when I ask this question, usually what the answer is from these moms is, well, it's because I'm overwhelmed. Yeah. It's because I'm stressed. I'm under too much pressure. And that's not going to change for the next 15 years. So I'm screwed. And so that's what I explain in the Mommy Tantra Masterclass in detail. It doesn't have to be this way. This is a learned pattern that is generational. Yeah. You were not born this way. It's a learned reaction of your nervous system. Somebody taught you. And we are not throwing the parents under the bus. Even if you had a happy childhood, parents who were not yelling. It's possible too. But you learned somewhere in your first 5-6 years of your life how to deal with stress, with chaos, with uncertainty, with not feeling good enough, not being heard, feeling invisible. Your nervous system learned how to adapt to those fears. And this is what jumps up whenever you get squeezed by your life or by your kids not listening right now. Yeah? Don't believe me? Well, check it. How do you feel right before you start yelling? Take any latest situation, and I'm doing this exercise also in that Mommy Tantra Masterclass. How did you feel the last time right before you exploded or imploded? Like you started crying, you collapsed, you felt like you have to run away from your kids so that you don't yell, or you felt like you shut down and freeze. You see a crying kid in front of you and you feel nothing, even though it's your kid. Yeah. So how did you feel right before that happened and you had whatever uncontrollable reaction? Yeah. It's not about what the situation was, who said what, or who did or didn't do what, but how did that situation make you feel? Out of control, not good enough, afraid of being judged, invisible, not heard, helpless, Your boundaries were being crossed. You couldn't do anything about it. Like people didn't care or afraid of not being loved. Like, hey, if I just keep giving, like unless I keep giving, people will not love me. So I need to do it, but I hate them for asking so much. That's how I used to feel as well when my daughter was 1-2 years old. I felt like I'm doing so much for you. I sacrificed so much of my life, my body, my career, my work. I'm at home with you. I'm doing everything I can. I'm reading so many books, doing DIY with you, not being on my phone even. Like I sacrifice. I don't do any babysitters or daycare centers. Like I'm with you 24/7, quite literally. And still, how come it's not enough? How come you keep asking for more? How come you're so clingy and whining? And like, it's never enough. How come I don't have anything else to give? I'm giving everything already. Why is it never enough? That's how I used to feel. And so then when I traced it back to my childhood, the first 5-6 years of my life, that's exactly how my parents made me feel. Even if when they were not yelling. It was always about, I had to prove I'm trying my 1000% best in order to feel appreciated, validated, and like to be given any kind of like emotional warmth, to be seen by them. Yeah. Because whenever I showed like bad emotions, whenever I got angry, upset, I was crying, I was whining, whenever I was complaining I cannot get something I want, there was either yelling or there was judgment. There was like, oh, you're not getting a hug right now because you're not being a good girl. Yeah. There was like this cutoff of that emotional connection because I didn't deserve. That's the thing as well. I'm going to put that in the training. I didn't have this one. Let me make a note. This is, I'm getting into these emotions again. Didn't deserve. Did you feel like you didn't deserve to be loved unconditionally? Because that's what I didn't get growing up. And again, I'm not complaining about my childhood, but we need to make that connection because that's where it's coming from. This is the answer you've been looking for. And now knowing that this is the root of not just your uncontrollable emotions with your kids, like yelling, snapping, freezing, shutting down, people pleasing with no boundaries, so scared that, oh my gosh, I'm going to make them mad and they will not love me. But this is the root also. This is the reason why you cannot stay calm and grounded under pressure. Why you're snapping or why you're so triggered and wired, like buzzing energy, when you're under time pressure. It's the same freaking thing. Isn't it? Think about it. Let's move away from examples with kids. Think about other parts of your life. Where else are you stressing? And yeah, maybe you're for sure, like in most cases, you're not yelling at your colleagues at work or whatever, right? Or at your own parents. But think about your other relationship dynamics, professionally, personally. And think about your relationship with your life in different situations, even when it's just you, yourself, and you. Think about situations that stress you out or relationships that stress you out. Isn't it the same pattern showing up? Isn't it? I meet so many high-achieving women. I was one of them. And I was coaching. I was corporate and executive coach for them. And for leadership talents, for people who wanted to grow their careers in the corporate world. All the high achievers. All of them. It's a generational adaptation, like a coping strategy of the nervous system to keep achieving and shooting higher and higher and higher and higher. It's never enough. I want more certifications, more achievements, more successful projects, more responsibility, more people on my team, just so that I can prove not only to everybody else that I'm good enough and I'm worthy, but to myself. Because whenever I achieved something, then it was like, okay, tick in the box. Yay, go me. So fantastic. I spent last year getting it. And then I allowed myself 3 seconds of feeling good and so great. I'm so proud. And after 3 seconds, Boop. Okay, what's the next goal? Let's keep going because I cannot stop, right? All these are generational patterns. All of this was wired into your nervous system when you were a kid. Your parents, your teachers, whomever had a big influence on you. Somebody gave you the message, basically, that you're not good enough the way you are and you need to change. Yes. And this is the root why you cannot stay calm under pressure, why you're freaking out when life is out of control, when your kids are not listening or anything else like is out of how you want it. Yeah. So now, why am I like hammering this in you so much, using so many examples and trying to say the same thing 50 times in a different way? So that you get that link, that there's no point in trying to control your presence, like your present moment and your life as it is right now. There's no point wishing, hoping, controlling for a better future because the pattern started in the past. It's not about now. It's not about what's happening in the future. You can't control that. You can't even control what's happening now. The only way how to get hold of yourself and your nervous system and help to calm it down is by dealing with that root in the past. Once that rewires, you will be able to get hold of yourself and your emotions and your reactions and be that calm leader. Not just at work, but in your home. Be the perfectly imperfect role model for your kids. On how to handle pressure, how to be resilient, Brené Brown, like all of these like pep talks, right? This is what resilience is. It's resistance to pressure. And it's it's wired in your nervous system. It will not go away by reading some books or watching TED Talks, inspirational YouTube videos. That can be good to prompt you to take action. But the action means, or the only way how it will rewire is through daily practices that are customized to where you got cut, 1,000 paper cuts in your past. That's what needs to get healed now, so that not only you're a calmer, more steady parent now, but you wire that in your system and in your kids' nervous system for their future. So that when they grow up, they are not acting the same way. Because isn't that true? Haven't you noticed? Especially if you have more than one kid. One of them will be exactly like you, taking on, absorbing the exact same stress coping mechanism. And the other one will be having the opposite one. The opposite. So if I have high achieving, high controlling perfectionist, kind of like even to the point of OCD moms, then one of their kids is usually the same, like putting so much pressure on themselves, crying if they color outside of the lines, smashing, like turning apart the paper, throwing it to the bin and like, I want to draw it again because it was not perfect. And the parents are like, what are you talking about? This is a beautiful drawing of a princess. And she's like, no, because I made this little, like, this is wrong. They spend half an hour drawing a picture and then because of one wrong move, they throw it away because they have already internalized the perfectionist trauma coping mechanism, right? So one kid will be like OCD, kind of like stuck. And then one of the kids, usually, I'm not trying to make generalizations, I'm just talking about the experience of talking to my clients and what stories they share. The other kid will usually be the opposite. So then the other kid might be the avoider, the one who's like trying to people please, walk around on eggshells around you. Like when they see you cry, they will come and even bring you a tissue, even small babies. And mommy hurt? Mommy, I give you a hug, mommy. So which might sound like so cute. And yeah, I have such an empathetic kid. And yeah, sure, that's amazing. However, that means you need to watch out even more, so that your kid doesn't become your therapist and your emotional blanket, and you don't take it for granted that you can just keep yelling because they're okay and they're so wise beyond their years. It's an old soul and my kid is so emotionally aware. Fantastic. But if you become their first bully, dumping your uncontrollable emotions on your kids to absorb it and kind of be the buffer, then they will grow up, like I cannot tell you, any therapist, counselors in my scope, mental health nurses, teachers, So many of us have become part of this profession. This is my calling because this was also me. I learned how to walk around my mom on tiptoes, how to manage her emotions. I was her emotional buffer. That's, again, and I'm not blaming anything for her. She will forever be my role model. I will have her on a pedestal. Because thanks to her, I learned how to connect the dots, how to see the patterns. That's why I can help today so many moms. I just wish I could develop my talents and skills without the trauma part of it, without the 1,000 paper cuts of never feeling good enough and worthy and deserving of unconditional love. Thanks, mom. Okay. Yeah, but this is how I turned my pain into my passion, right? But this is what you need to watch out with your kids if they are empaths. Because it's beautiful. Yeah, it will teach them how to be a good therapist maybe one day. But then also I watched so many of my colleagues burn out because they didn't heal it. And they went into giving, and absorbing all of that pain of the world and all the pain of their clients. And they burned out. Because it's too much to handle for one person. You need to have healthy boundaries. But if you're a people pleaser feeling like, yeah, it's my job, basically, literally, it's my life's purpose to absorb the pain of others so that they feel good. While you're the one who dies because of that, then that's not a healthy balance, right? So that's why many moms come and tell me my kids indeed are reacting to my patterns. This is how your past, the root of your trauma patterns, of your stress coping mechanisms shows up in the present right now in your reactions to your kids or to your stressful life. And your kids, don't worry about your kids not listening to you. Worry about them watching you all the time. Because one way or another, they will either adapt 100% the same trauma, stress coping pattern that you have, or they will go and take the opposite one. Yeah, just to balance each other. Unconsciously, they don't do it on purpose, but unconsciously they feel like every kid wants to find their place in the family and dynamic. And so that's why usually kids go into these extremes. Yeah. Does that make sense? This is the reason why you need help and why you need to start rewiring these generational stress patterns as soon as possible. Because unless you do, I don't care that if you yell, oh, but I yell just maybe once a month. Yeah, right. But how about the other times when you're not yelling and you're still showing you're living from this stress pattern? I was then later on, I was not even yelling every day, but exactly like my husband pointed out, sitting in the car driving whatever, it was in the weekend, we were going to the seaside. I was still sitting with that tension in my body. I was still tense. I was not there. I was in my head somewhere already few hours in advance thinking about what needs to happen next and after and how can I anticipate and prepare and make it better for everybody. I was not there. I was not living my life. I was trying to manage the life by standing on top of it, trying to see how it all fits, just so that I don't have to feel, I can feel more in control when there are so many things I cannot control. Yeah. And isn't that a pity that we lose the best years? And for me, all the years are the best. Yeah, now that I rewired, I'm yeah, there is no judging the best and worst years. But I do feel I wish I could have done it faster. Because I did lose time with my daughter, time that I could have enjoyed, rather than those being the years of my and her life that I feel most ashamed of. I did turn it into something good in the end by helping other moms. And especially that's why I love working with even pregnant women or women who don't have kids yet. Because it's this is so good. This is the best chance. Please, let's rewire. Let's put you back on track and let's make you healthy before you have kids, before you start giving them the patterns. But usually, of course, there's no point in I wish and woulda, coulda, shoulda. I can't take back the time, right? And even for the moms, let me finish with this one. Even for moms whose kids are already older, we do have moms who have teenage kids. And then the guilt, you can imagine the guilt there and the shame and how they're blaming themselves. That's not going to help anybody. The recipe, if I can call it this way, the recipe is still the same for you, just like for any other mom or a childless woman or a man. Yeah. It doesn't matter your gender, your age, your family status, the number of your kids and their age. It does not matter. If you start observing also other people in your life and their patterns, how they react under stress, if you know anything about their childhood story, like there will be links. It's always, people are basically walking mirrors. They mirror right now what happened to them. Like they actually show you what's inside. And they think nobody can see that. Well, I can see it very well now, right? It's usually where it's the most difficult to see is in yourself. Because we don't walk around our life with 360 mirrors all around ourselves. We don't see all parts of ourselves, right? That's why you need to work with a coach or a therapist or somebody who knows how to help you see that, because it's the hardest to see it in yourself. It's so easy to point out and say, yeah, my friend is always like this and most likely it's because of that. Yeah. That's why I'm showing you here the mirror by sharing my stories and stories of other moms so that you don't get defensive and you get curious instead. And you start looking at, well, wouldn't it? Maybe? Yeah. Is it possible for me? No, it cannot be. Maybe. Yeah. So let me appreciate you for having the courage to look inside, because usually that's the last place where we want to look. It's like, no, I'm already trying so hard. It's not me. No, it's life. It's kids. It's those people bullying bosses and colleagues. And it's my parents toxic. And yeah, it might be. But this, rewiring your own generational stress patterns of you not feeling good enough, feeling invisible, feeling like, unless I people please and do everything for everybody else, I'm never going to be loved and they will all leave me and abandon me, and because I'm screwed and I'm broken beyond fixing. Unless you heal this, nothing's going to change. Yeah. This generational rewiring of your nervous system is the only and the fastest way how you can actually start enjoying your life and being fully present in it, no matter what. Doesn't mean your life will always be easy. No, shit will still happen. Excuse my language. Doesn't mean that you have to go down with that shit. No. I kind of even think about it sometimes like, dare on life, bring it on. So that I can test and kind of practice more of my resilience and resistance. Just like, bring it all. I'm here for all of it. And one way or another, I might smash my face. Like there might be situations I will absolutely hate. But wouldn't it be great if I could learn from all of them? Like the worst situation I went through my life so far was losing my mom to cancer when she was 51 years old. And me now coming closer to that age, you bet it's playing on my mind. But this is where I turned it around. I use it as like for all of her stress, for all of her pain, for her like such a young, like such a short life, to make sense out of it. This is why I'm doing this work. This is why I'm so committed to my own path. So that I learn, so that I don't blindly repeat all the mistakes. So that, not to say that, so that my mom's death is worth it, because it will never be. But to at least make sure that I get all the lessons and all the gifts from it, no matter how weird that sounds. Yeah. But that's the reminder I get every single day. Nobody knows how long we have. I don't know how many days, and maybe I will not die of cancer, but something else will happen whenever. I don't know. And this is what's out of my control. But this is why I refuse to play the same controlling, perfectionist way of living life and trying to shift and like mold the life into what I want. It will never be. I will keep getting like crazy stuff and obstacles and things I don't like left and right. But the only way how I can actually enjoy it no matter what is if I realize like, I'm already good enough. I have nothing else to prove to anybody. Other people, they might criticize me or they might praise me. Unbothered. Nothing to do with me. It's all about them. Yeah. I might get nervous still one morning if we are running late and something needs to get done. I might get stressed. I'm not going to yell. Because what's the most important thing in that moment? Being on time, or my daughter knowing that she's good enough and it's not her fault if mama is getting stressed. Yeah. This is the fastest way how you can help also then your kids, like correct their behavior if they're trying to test the boundaries. Like I tell my daughter, like, this is the one sweet you're getting after the meal. And then she's like, and can I get one more? And can I get this? And mama? And she knows how like cute her face is. So then she even does it even as a joke, but on purpose. She comes to me and she does this, like her puppy eyes, and she's joking, but also not joking. Yeah. And she's trying like, mommy, like really? And she's trying to persuade me. I'm like, oh no, my dear. And I'm not going to yell at her for trying. I'm like, yeah, good try. And it's still a no, right? And we play it down. But this is what I want her. These are the skills and these are the experiences I want her to grow up with. If there's anything I learned from my mom's life is that no amount of achievements, no amount of success, no amount of others, people, even respect or whatever, I could not care less. I'm grounding my worth into knowing who I am. And I want my daughter to do the same for her. I don't want her to attach her value and self-worth to anybody or anything else. Yeah, that's why I need to live perfectly imperfect this way right now, so that she can observe that. She can see how I navigate when life throws things at me. She's watching. I want her to watch. I want her to see. And I'm telling her how I'm managing situations and how I'm feeling, and that I'm not always feeling good. And it is like, oh, sometimes, yeah. But I want her to see me in these situations, and I want her to see how I react, so that then she can learn from that and adapt for what feels good to her one day. That's why we are here. And so that's why I'm so grateful for you, that you have so much courage and open heart and to even considering this path. Yeah. My next invitation for you would be to watch that Mommy Tantra Masterclass if you haven't, because there I go into that 3-pillar network, 3-pillar like framework that helps rewire this step by step. Yeah, so that's where I go more into teaching. But I wanted to do this podcast episode with more examples from my life and what other women are telling me, because this complaint, like, it's my life, it's because I'm overwhelmed, it's because I'm stressed, that's why I cannot keep yelling. It makes logical sense, but it does not have to be that way. You can stop being the victim of the stress and pressure of the society, of your culture, of expectations of your family. You can choose to let all that go and become emotionally strong enough not to give a flying yeah. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know. Send me a message how this resonated or didn't, how you got triggered. That's totally okay as well. And take very good care, Supermom. I'll see you next time on the next episode of the Zen Supermom Podcast. Bye.